the stuff. And there's been plenty of people through history that have understood this. Even Abraham Lincoln understood with the greenback, sound currency. There was Andrew Jackson of course, Ron Paul contemporarily understands what I'm talking about. Guys like Paul Craig Roberts or, Max Kaiser perhaps. I don't know about the whole Bitcoin thing, but, I just don't understand all the nuances. To me, money is money in whatever form. So I guess digital is just as legitimate as any other, as long as it's stable to some degree. That's fine, I guess. But you see, what we're after here is, JFK particularly. I mean, of all the presidents I just named, JFK was the premier president that really got sound currency. He understood that this was a way out. This was light at the end of the tunnel. This would gradually create a rising tide of prosperity through what is supposed to happen naturally under economic philosophy. Any economic principle involving supply and demand and progress is that your currency, whatever it may be, would become worth more day by day as we discover easier and easier methods to not only manufacture the things we absolutely need, like food and housing and clean water, but the other things we want, like clothing and trinkets, knickknacks, luxury items, automobiles, and you name it, sailboats and jets and whatever other thing that you can imagine, tools of every sort. So whatever it is, we would find easier and easier ways. So it would become, the idea that we had to labor greatly to have these things would become a thing of the past. So, you'd have this continually reduced work week as your currency was continually inflating, increasing in value, and it became less and less relevant. So you understand the whole idea of pure capitalism and sound currency, supply and demand based, free economic, free market systems. It's all just a means to an end, really. It really is. It really is a means to be completely free. To just say, well, why don't we just, cut out the middleman and just realize that we will serve one another of our own free will. We don't need to be, coerced and forced to be told, look, you're born with a cost of living and don't question it. It just all makes sense. Just trust the money masters. Trust those who tell you you owe them, I'm thinking of my Palestinian friend right now, and I believe he said it was his cousin or a friend from Palestine. And he pointed out that Americans are all, as if we're all living in motels here. And I thought, you know what, he's absolutely right. With what they've done to us in America, and this is how they've done it. Remember, they need to impoverish the people. They've done it through the housing charade. It's just a big scam. The whole thing was a scheme, okay? And, I was talking about this Jarvis Act, this Proposition 13 that passed in California back in the early 70s. And what this did, this insulated the people that were purchasing homes that owned homes at that time. If they paid $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for their home at that time, which could have been a very nice home at that time, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 would buy you a spectacular home back in the early 70s. So what it was the proposal was this, it was a taxpayer lobby group. But these people think far ahead. You understand what they did was by insulating these people, and then property values could be manipulated upward, and they were insulated from having to pay the increased assessment on the property that they own. So they went along with all this market manipulation. All these innocent homeowners just brushed it off, even subconsciously, however they did it. Not looking ahead, not seeing, not wanting to look ahead, 5, 6, 7, 8 generations from now when, we're at the point almost, now in California, we have a majority of renting, renters, so tenants. So the minority of Californians now are homeowners, and among those are literally millions upon millions, because there's some 40 million people in California. So over half of them, so that's over 20 million of them are poor, and a lot of those other 20 million are landlords. So the reason I'm talking about all this is so that you understand how we've been divided, what happened here, and how there is no good that can come from the system of putting us in debt, both personal and national debt. where, right here in Chico, California, where I live, they got the news media coming on, preparing people for higher rents and higher housing costs, as if there's some, housing god. It's not based on supply and demand, right? It's not like there's a shortage and we're running out of housing. In fact, quite the contrary is true. That the excess supply, the inventory, not just in this area of Northern California, but all over the country, is increasing. So as the supply increases, the prices go up. That is classic price fixing, folks. It's unnerving, it's insufferable, and I don't know how to put it lightly, but this is how we've been taken, okay? This is the bandwagon effect, this bandwagon doctrine. They've been selling it here in California for decades. So if you want to know what's coming to other parts of the country, understand more and more people are going to lose their homes. Your cost of housing is going to go through the roof until, because still to this day, I think 65% of Americans own their own house, until you too have a minority of homeowners in the country. So, this Palestinian fella and his cousin, they're absolutely right about this, is that it is like that. And it's shameful. And he told me that in Palestine, they don't have any homelessness, okay? So in my mind, here's a Muslim nation, right? We all would agree that Palestine's a Muslim nation that is behaving in a more Christian manner than America. And, I want to pull my hair out. And people wonder why I come across as this negativist and, complaining all the time. Well, that's it. If I could see that things were turning around, that we finally, hit the wall, and that they could only go up from here, that the light of the tunnel was, at the end of the tunnel was tangible, and I could reach it. Okay, that not just me, but we're in this thing together, because it's so important to understand that this prosperity thing. And who was it? The Hugo. Victor Hugo, I believe it was, that said, prosperity breeds monsters, and that adversity breeds men. And you know what? I can understand what he's saying. I think any man can understand that. They want their son to be a man, and he's got to buck up, and face the music, and step up to the plate and have some courage and tackle the difficulties of just being a man and saying, I am. And I demand, I'm going to survive. I have a right to exist, and I'm here. So I'm coming through. I'm a young buck, and prepare your son to be a tough guy and to, hold his own and stand tough and all that. So we get that, But if we had a different view of prosperity that didn't involve money, that the idea of being successful was from a whole different point of view, it was from a divine point of view. So success meant things like right values, like valuing your conscience, valuing your integrity, your honor, valuing the fact that you have invisible qualities that you wouldn't sell for any price, like your soul. That it doesn't matter if I gave you the whole world, you're not giving it up. And it's invisible, it's not your body. Your body is like a vehicle. It serves a great purpose. It's wonderful to have a body, don't get me wrong, but the point is that your essence is much more, and you know it instinctively. Even an atheist knows these things instinctively. We have the God gene instinctively. So it's critical to understand that, whose definition of valuable, of treasure, we should only care about his opinion. We've got to be on the same page, have the same point of view. Okay, this is the only way we're going to have peace on earth, to have joy, to have contentment, to have safety and security and prosperity for everybody. We've got to see this from a different point of view. And when you understand that, you know what? I can't enjoy prosperity. If you come into your right mind, you'll understand. I mean, folks, I don't care, almost anywhere in the world, if you looked at my financial situation, okay, I know there's some third world countries that would say, that guy, he's doing really good. I'm really lucky. I really am. I'm prosperous and blessed, I guess. I'm plugged into the American way, and I've got all the protection and the safety net out there of being an born American citizen and all that. I get it. And there's help out there if I really fall on hard times. I get that, and I appreciate that. That's good. But, other people would say, that's pathetic. I mean, if you just put me on a scale of Americans, probably, you'd say that's pathetic. But you see, Why do I feel like a spoiled, pompous brat, extravagant? Okay, I can't enjoy the level of prosperity. I can't enjoy my measly little wristwatch collection, folks, when I know I got a brother or sister living in the bushes that can't afford a $10 Timex, okay? Do you understand? I want to be able to enjoy my prosperity. I want you to be able to enjoy your prosperity. I want my children to be able to enjoy their prosperity, and him and her and their children. And you, I mean, this is what we've got to understand. So we have to really get over this idea that money and prosperity are one and the same. They're not. We've got to render the money masters irrelevant. And and they know that. They know that eventually wisdom will grow on the earth. Knowledge, as painful as it is, as traumatic as it is, to understand that there is really, really mean people running things. And they are against everything that is good and for everything that is bad. They're against everything that is right and for everything that is wrong. They're against everything that is pure and against everything that is impure and filthy. Okay, they are against justice. They are against mercy. They are ruthless. Okay, and they don't want good to prevail on the earth, but it's going to, and they know it. And they're going to act like they don't know it. They're going to show their stupidity, their ignorance, and act like they don't know they're going down as long as they can, because it's a lot of this battle is happening psychologically. It's happening spiritually. It's happening collectively. The whole human race is going through dynamic and profound changes all the time. We're very fluid, and we can learn overnight. Things can change for us now, and this time was predicted in the Bible. If you read the book of Daniel, how he says in the latter days, before the return of Jesus, or he doesn't point to the return of Jesus, before this big change takes place, which, like Jesus said, this is the end of the one age and the beginning of another, and he is going to return during this period. But he talks about this time, and he says that knowledge will be greatly increased upon the earth. And when you realize that, technology is a part of that knowledge increasing, and now these people, these Illuminati class, these Bilderbergers and all their kin, they all claim to be these technocrats. You see, they've got the money and they've got the knowledge, and this is how they've been ruling us. They know stuff that we don't know. You see, if human beings really could grasp this idea, this really very likely idea that our government, okay, certain elements, black hats in there. We got black hats and white hats. That's how it is. And that some of these people know that things are really bizarre, okay, that there really is other beings, that, the Bible is true. There really is these holy angels. There really is these fallen angels. And if people like the Pope are privy to this information, or Obama, or whoever, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and this is very critical that they keep this knowledge to themselves. They don't want you to know that there really is an almighty, most high God, almighty creator God, okay? They don't want you to know that he has these beings at his disposal that are far more powerful than human beings, called holy angels, at his disposal. And that when the time comes, it's going to be just like the Bible predicts, that this cup that God is filling with the fury of his righteous indignation overflows, and that's the time. Jesus said, I don't know exactly when that time is. The angels in heaven don't know, but I know the signs you can look for. And they're all falling into place, folks. We've all got to really wake up and see the unprecedented, the most profound nature of where we are at this point in history, and how we're looking at some mega changes, monumental, biblical sea changes coming upon the earth and upon the lives of all human beings. And we've got to prepare ourselves for the inevitable. This is the return of Jesus, and the idea that Jesus Christ himself is going to rule over the affairs of men. This is what we've got to prepare ourselves for. These people ruling over us have been working diligently day and night to try to prevent this thing from happening, to seize the earth and the inhabitants and treat us like hostages. Do you see how it is? That, look, if you try this thing, this whole, coming in here with the angels and forcing your will on us, we're going to fight you every way we can. And we're going to hold the humans hostages. Now we can spray the sky at will, and we'll just, hit them with bioweapons and there'll be nothing for you to save, Jesus. That was even predicted in the Bible. There's some mention about, you know, Jesus' time being cut short lest all flesh was destroyed. So these people that are ruling over us, these mean, cruel, money master overlords, they are going to lose heart, and they're